Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope all of you are fine and enjoying good health. Students, we have been studying the chapter 5 industry, and we have discussed in great detail what is industry, that is manufacturing of goods in factories. And there are three levels of industries, and the primary industry is the first level, that is getting the raw material, and we get these raw material from agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, quarrying and drilling. Similarly, we also discussed the method of drilling of oil and gas. So today we will talk about oil and natural gas and its byproducts. So you will be able to know about the significance of oil and natural gas and their byproducts in the modern world. Students, first we talk about oil and its byproducts. Byproducts means the secondary products that we get. It means that when we take out oil from deep underground, the main or the primary thing is oil, and there are so many other substances, other chemicals that we also get along with the oil, and that is known as the byproducts of oil. So let's discuss what is the oil and its byproducts. As you know that oil is very important raw material and it is the main source of energy. So many people call it black gold, as the production of oil and its byproducts is the most important industry in our modern world. Students, let me ask you a question. Can you tell me, what do you think is the main use of oil? Yes, of course. Your answer may be as a fuel for transport, good, or for producing electricity. Yeah, you are right. We may think that oil is used just for powering cars, trucks and trains and producing electricity. Well, it is very well true, because it is a very important source of energy, and over half of energy in the world comes from oil. But in spite of providing energy or using as a fuel for transportation, it is also the base for a number of everyday byproducts that we would never think had anything to do with the black sludge that comes from the oil well. It is said that more than 6,000 byproducts are obtained from the oil, and we get more different products from oil than from any other substance on the earth. Means कि दुनिया में सबसे ज़्यादा बाई प्रोडक्ट्स जो हैं वो वी गेट इट और वी obtained it from the oil, and not any other substance on the earth can give us such products. That's why oil is very important, and you know that almost 45% of oil comes from Muslim countries. Do you remember what are the largest Muslim countries which produce oil? Yeah, the largest oil producing countries are, right, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, Malaysia. Yeah, these are the countries that are the largest oil producing countries, and although some of these countries are in the neighbor of Pakistan, and the geological situation of Pakistan is same as its neighboring countries, but unfortunately Pakistan does not have a large amount of oil, so it has to import its oil from the other countries. Pakistan itself produces 15% of oil that does not fulfill its requirements, so it has to import the other 85% of oil from the different countries, from the Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Qatar, and so students, when we take out oil, or when the oil comes from underground, it is in crude form. It is known as the crude oil. A crude oil is a thick, black, horrible smelling semi-liquid. We cannot use crude oil without refining. It needs refining, as oil cannot be used in crude form. So it is taken by pipeline or tanker to the refinery. And what is an oil refinery? It is a huge industrial complex where oil is refined that is split into many chemicals of which it is made. Remember, oil, we are talking about oil and its byproducts. So oil is crude oil is a combination of so many other chemicals except oil. So in an oil refinery, all these chemicals or all these substances are separated. So generally oil refineries are located near oil fields. In Pakistan there are also oil refineries. The one is Attak Oil Refinery, that is in Morga, Rawalpindi. Pakistan Refinery and National Refinery that are situated in Karachi. Similarly, there is another famous oil refinery, that is Pak Arab Oil Refinery. It is so these are the oil refineries of Pakistan, and most of the oil of Pakistan is refined by Pakistan Refinery and National Refinery in Karachi. So let's see what's the process of oil refining. Students, as oil comes from underground as a crude form and it needs to be refining, so oil goes through a large number of different processes to clean it and break it into parts. The first step is it is washed with hot water to get rid of unpleasant sulfur. Unpleasant sulfur से को इससे सेपरेट करने के लिए इसको हॉट वाटर से जो है वो वॉश किया जाता है, एंड देन इट गोज़ टू द डिस्टिलेशन टॉवर. Distillation tower, here you can see this is the distillation tower. You can also see this on your book, page number 49, where the picture of National Refinery Karachi is pasted. So when the oil is taken to distillation tower, here it is heated to turn into gas. अब इसको हीट अप किया जाता है so that it turns into gas, and when it turns into gas it rises up to 40 meters tower. जिसको हम डिस्टिलेशन टावर जो है वो कहते हैं, वहाँ पे ये 40 मीटर्स हाई टावर होता है, एंड ऑल द वे अप द टावर्स आर ट्रेज विद होल्स इन देम, एंड each of them a different part of the oil condense. So when it heats up and it turns into gas, it goes up to the tower that is almost 40 meters high. So all the way up to the tower there are, here you can see there are trays with holes on them, और उस पर different parts of oil जो उसके different components हैं वो उसमें condense हो जाते हैं. Condense mean कि वो the gas turns into लिक्विड अगेन, द गैस वेपर्स जो हैं वो दोबारा लिक्विड में जो है वो चेंज हो जाते हैं, और इस तरह जो उसके डिफरेंट पार्ट्स हैं, जो डिफरेंट उसकी बाय प्रोडक्ट्स हैं वो सेपरेट जो है वो कर ली जाती हैं. सो एज यू कैन सी एट द 340 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड देयर इज़ द बिटुमिन, दैट इज़ द रोड यूज फॉर द रोड्स एंड रूफिंग. देन at 170 degree centigrade kerosene oil is separated, and that is used as the jet fuel and lighting and heating. And similarly at 70 degree petrol is separated from the crude oil, and that is used for the vehicles. And at the top at 20 degree centigrade there is bottled gas that is known as the LPG. So this is the process through which different parts or different substances of oil are separated and they are stored in different sections. So this is how we get different byproducts or different substances from the crude oil. So some of the products obtained from the oil are mainly used for the fuel, and there are only some of them like jet fuel, petrol, diesel fuel, kerosene, heating oil, furnace oil, liquefied petroleum gas that is LPG, petrochemicals. And petrochemicals are, students, the chemical products that we obtained from petroleum by refining. So these are the some of the fuels that are obtained from oil. Beside different fuel, oil is the raw material for so many things. You will be amazed to know that oil is used in so many products that we would never think of. For example, it is the raw material for cosmetic, food and cloth dyes, plastics such as such as terephthalate and nylon. It is also the raw material for fertilizers, and as a bitumen for roads and roofs, and it is used for strengthening tires. It is also used in the making of wax, lubricants, insecticides, some vitamins, and some amino acids. So there are a lot of things that are the byproducts of the oil, and in which the oil is used as a raw material. As I told you, more than 6,000 products are in the world in which oil is used in a way or the other. So oil is very important. It is very important for the industry, because without the oil, as it is the important source of energy, and it is also the raw material for so many things. So without oil, it is not possible to develop the industry or run a country. So now it's the turn to know about the natural gas. Students, natural gas was like oil. Natural gas was created by rotting vegetable deep underground, and often oil and gas are found together, and usually gas is found in oil bearing rocks above the oil surface. So when a well is drilled, pipes are drilled down to gas, and it is brought to the surface to be treated, and then it is piped to the refinery. So it is piped to the gas refinery, where the impurities are removed, and it emerges as butane or propane. Students, butane or propane are a type of gases that are kind of color as hydrocarbon gas. So natural gas emerges either in the form of butane or propane. Student, natural gas is the second largest source of energy in Pakistan. It is very important. It is used in a lot of things. It is the main source of second important source of energy, and it is a very flexible fuel, because it can easily be compressed in the form of LPG and CNG, and it can be easily be transported along huge pipeline to where it is needed. Another use is for household purposes, like it is used for cooking and heating. It is also used in industry, as it's one of the major use of natural gas is as industrial fuel. For example, heating the boilers, providing energy to the industry so that the machines can run. And another use is as fuel for transport. In Pakistan, CNG is now extensively being used as fuel for transport, like cars, trucks, vans, buses are powered by CNG, and it is the fastest growing alternative for petrol. Another important use of natural gas is as industrial raw material, especially for making fertilizers, because it is an important raw material for fertilizers. And fertilizers are also fertilizer industry is very important for Pakistan, because Pakistan is an agriculture country, and it needs fertilizers to maintain the fertility of its land, not only to grow crops to feed its people, but to also improve the quantity of its export, that is generally the agricultural products. That's why natural gas is very important for Pakistan for making that is used as raw material for fertilizers, and it is also an important source of energy for making cement. So natural gas is used in so many ways, and it has a lot of advantages and benefits. It is a flexible fuel, as it turns into liquid under pressure like LPG and CNG, which makes it easy to store. Similarly, it is a very cheap and convenient domestic fuel. Cheap in a sense that Pakistan has sufficient or excellent supplies of natural gas, and it is produced at home. That's the reason it is cheap, whereas the oil based fuels like petrol, diesel, kerosene, that have to be imported, and that's why they are expensive. So natural gas is cheap because it is produced at home, and it is convenient domestic fuel in a sense because it can be piped directly to homes, factories, power stations and industry where it is needed. For example, the main gas field is in Sui in Balochistan, and it is piped from the main source, especially in Sui, to the major towns and cities of the country. And another advantage of natural gas is as a fuel for transport. So, as a fuel for transport, it is clean fuel than petrol and does not emit fumes into the atmosphere, and it does not pollute the air. And as it is cheap and clean fuel, and its availability is very easy, so there is a growing popularity of dual fuel cars in Pakistan. They can run on CNG or petrol as well. So the most important use of advantage or benefit of natural gas is that it can be used as bottle gas in steel containers. It means it turn into liquid under pressure, and it can be easily stored into cylinders or steel containers. And these steel containers can be bought in most places, and where natural gas is not piped, or where it would be far too expensive to put in a pipeline, especially in the remotest regions. So in all these areas, these bottle gas or cylinder gas is used for household purposes, especially for cooking. And it is easily, when it turns back to become a highly flammable gas in the normal atmosphere. कि जब ये स्टोर की जाती है तो it turns into liquid, which makes it easier to store, and when it turns back to become a highly flammable gas in the normal atmosphere. Students, natural gas is very valuable or important for Pakistan because it fulfills 35% of our energy requirement. And natural gas was first discovered in Sui in the province of Balochistan in 1952, and it was discovered by Pakistan Petroleum Limited during their petrol hunt operation. So since the discovery of natural gas in Sui, 25 more gas reserves have been discovered, but the gas field that is in Sui is still the largest one gas field, and there are also gas fields in Balochistan, Sindh and Punjab as well. As natural gas is the second largest source of energy, and it is very important for Pakistan, production of natural gas has recorded 100% increase in the last decade of the 20th century, and production of natural gas has increased from 15 million cubic meters in 1991 to 41 million cubic meters in 2007. This shows that we are using it as an important source of energy, and the natural gas is cheap domestic fuel. It is a highly suitable fuel, and it is a source of energy, and it is also a source of raw material, especially for making fertilizers. So we can see that as there are very sufficient supplies and very excellent reserves of natural gas in Pakistan, so Pakistan uses its good supply of natural gas in different fields, like in power station 35% of gas is used, as I told you that 35% of energy comes from the natural gas. And in the making of fertilizer as a raw material, 16% of natural gas is used. In homes for cooking and for heating, 15% of the natural gas is used. In industry, 25% of gas is used. Shops and office uses 3%. Cement manufacturing 1%, and as a transport fuel, its use is 5%. Students, as we all know that oil and gas are very important source of energy, and fuel for transport. But we must remember that oil and gas cannot be produced artificially. It took thousands of years to produce oil and natural gas. So we should use it very carefully, because in many cases the byproducts of natural gas and oil are more valuable than the use of natural gas or oil as fuel. We should not be we should not waste we should not be wasted these precious mineral as a transport fuel, because the chemicals and the other substances produced from oil are of far more importance and they could not be replaced, whereas transport could possibly be powered by something else, probably electricity, solar system. So we must use it very carefully, because if oil and gas is run out from the world, it would be very difficult to find a substitute for it. I hope you have understood the topic. So today it is all for today. Your home task is to find the answer of question number 2 and the question number 5. Hope you will find this answer in your book or in the lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.